Hello everyone, it's me Uncle John. Today I am going to read S3 3195, Alex and Josie, written by Kathy White. Chapter 1, The Pocket. Characters: Alex, Tim, Josie. Alex reached into her pocket. She smiled as her hand closed around Josie's soft, warm, curled-up body. She wrapped Josie's tail around the finger. Ask one of your friends to look after Josie while you are away with your dad in Auckland, her mother had suggested. She's a small mouse, and it's only for 2 weeks. What could possibly go wrong? She said. But none of Alex's friends had a good track record with pets. Ellen's rabbit died of an ear infection. Jamie's cat ran away when they got an over-energetic Newfoundland puppy for Christmas. And Scott had managed to overfeed and kill 7 goldfish. Something was wrong with those fish from the start, Scott said in reply to Alex's advice about keeping fish. Hey, check out this new skateboard move. It's called a Nollie 180 heel flip. Scott skateboarded past Alex. Anyway, I've got a new improved fish called Arnie. There's no way that he'll go belly up. He's one tough goldfish. Alex hated to admit it, but all of her friends scored a D in pet care. Josie couldn't stay with any of them, and Josie couldn't travel in the plane's cargo hold. Alex had read horror stories on the internet about animals dying of heat stress in cargo holds. So Alex had done the unimaginable. She had played with Josie for hours before the trip. Then, just as Josie sank into deep sleep, Alex slipped gently into her pocket, loaded her bags into the car, and told her mom she was ready to go. Did you find a good place for Josie to stay? Her mom asked as she backed the car out of the garage. The perfect place. Alex smiled. Chapter 2. Escape. After only an hour in the air, Alex had eaten 2 bags of nuts and had finished 2 glasses of orange juice. It was too soon to ask Glenn. The flight attendant was looking after her for more food. I saved you some nuts, Alex whispered into her pocket. Time to wake up, Josie. Alex jiggled her pocket, opened it wide, and peered in. Her smile quickly faded when she saw that her pocket was empty. Her hand frantically searched all of the folds in her clothes. She looked under the seat, but there was no Josie. She looked in her bag. No Josie. Don't panic. Alex tried to stay calm. Where would Josie go? Within moments, Alex was in the aisle and heading for the galley. Josie can always find the kitchen, Alex muttered. What a nightmare. The galley was a mass of drawers, cupboards, boxes, and bins. Alex didn't know where to start. She went back to her seat. If you're looking for a mouse, it isn't back there, said the boy seated beside her. I just saw it run across the aisle and dive into that lady's handbag. Glenn pushed past them. Alex stared nervously at the boy. Was he going to tell Glenn? They looked uneasily at each other, but the boy said nothing. Her name is Josie, Alex said quietly. And I'm Alex. I'm Tim, he said, smiling. I'll help you find her if you like. Alex nodded happily. Chapter 3, The Handbag. I have an idea, Tim whispered as he pointed down the aisle. How about I go first and accidentally kick over the handbag? You'll be right behind me and can quickly kneel down to pick up all the stuff. I pretend that you do this sort of thing all the time, Alex added. Yeah, whatever, Tim said. Just don't make me out to be a complete idiot. Are you ready? Alex nodded. She helped the woman wouldn't think they were trying to steal anything, but there was no time to worry. Tim was already walking down the aisle. Tim's full foot caught the edge of the bag perfectly, and all of the contents spilled into the aisle. Oh, Tim, what were you putting your clumsy feet? Alex said, pouncing on the bag. She quickly opened it to return the lipstick and table bottles that had fallen out onto the floor. Never mind, the woman said in a flustered voice. Let me do that. Alex had one last look in the bag as she dropped in an address book and then clambered to her feet. I'm really sorry about that. Yeah, sorry, Tim mumbled, looking rather embarrassed. It's really not a problem, kids, said the man, leaning over from the seat next to the window. Denise, you shouldn't have left your bag in the aisle, he said. Denise scowled at him. Did you find Josie? Tim asked as they sat down. Alex shook her head. She wasn't there. She must have climbed out again. What do we do now? Denise, I saw something move in your magazine pocket. The man next to the window said quietly. Alex's eyes widened. Denise was reading and didn't hear him. Excuse me. Alex was quickly on her feet and leaned over the woman's seat. Do you mind if I look at that magazine for a minute? Alex asked sweetly. Mine has pages ripped out. Within seconds, Alex's fingers were probing into all the corners of the magazine pocket. Josie had vanished as quickly as she had appeared. When Alex looked up, Denise looked as if she would explode. I think it's time that you sat down, young lady. Alex fell into her seat again and sighed. Josie could be anywhere by now. Chapter 4, The Shoe. I saw a mouse there, said the little girl in the seat in front of Alex. I'm sure you did, Sophie, said her father with his head buried in his newspaper. What did it look like? It was white with a pink tail, the girl giggled. Now it's hiding in your shoe. Alex and Tim peered under the seat and glimpsed the tail hanging over the shoe's heel like an extra shoelace. Tim put a finger to his lips and crouched on the floor. Carefully, he reached under the seat. His fingers were centimeters away when the man suddenly stood up. It looks like the restroom's free. I'll be back in a minute, Sophie. How about checking on Wanda while I'm away? The man said as he wriggled his feet into his shoe. Alex was frantic. Imagine being squashed by those smelly feet. What an awful way to die. Surely Sophie's dad would have noticed a big lump like Josie in his shoe. Alex wanted to cry. She looked helplessly at Tim, but he was staring at a large open plastic bag on the floor between Sophie's feet. Wanda and family, he said, pointing to a bowl full of goldfish in the bag. And I feel guilty about one little mouse, Alex said in amazement. Chapter 5, Capture. They were now only an hour away from Auckland. There had been no sign of Josie since the shoe incident. Alex and Tim sat slumped in their seats. I wish he'd take his shoes off so we'd know for sure that she's dead, said Tim. I don't want to know, Alex said miserably. Anyway, I'm sure that he would have been able to feel Josie if she was in his shoes. Not if he has an artificial leg, Tim said. My teacher has a one and he can't feel anything. Glenn, the flight attendant, suddenly appeared with a lunch tray in his hand. Alex, I think this one is for you. How come she gets lunch before anyone else? Tim moaned. I'm hungry. Yours will be coming soon, Glenn reassured him. Enjoy your lunch, Alex. Thanks. Alex mumbled as he walked away. You'll have it, Tim. I don't feel hungry anyway. Tim enthusiastically took the tray from Alex. Quickly whipped the lid off the biggest plate. Hey, Alex, did you ask Glenn for a special meal? Alex shook her head and stared at the thick chunk of cheese sitting in the middle of the plate. That's odd. What's the other dish? She asked Tim. Tim suddenly laughed and pointed to the note, taped onto the lid. Wild animal enclosed. Keep covered. A pink nose poked its way through the air hole in the lid. Alex shrieked with delight. Welcome on, wild thing, Alex whispered to Josie's twitching nose. Chapter 6, Safe at Last. Wild thing, you make my heart sing. Alex and Tim sang quietly as they gathered their belongings, ready to leave the plane. They were so excited to have Josie back that they had barely noticed they had landed. Normally, that was Tim's favorite part of the trip. Glenn arrived to escort Alex off the plane to meet her father. Are you ready to go? He asked Alex. Alex nodded. Tim is coming too. He's meeting his dad at the baggage carousel. I'm sticking with Josie, the escape artist, right to the very end, Tim said. Alex held Josie's container tightly as they filed down the aisle and through the plane door. When Alex explained to Glenn why she had been scared to leave Josie with her friends, he smiled. I would feel exactly the same, he said, but you're not really allowed to bring pets on board the plane. It's actually quite safe for animals to travel in the cargo hold. Don't believe everything you read on the internet. Alex rolled her eyes. I wish I would known that before. Glenn smiled. Do you know where I found Josie? In a milk jug. What if you had poured Josie into that woman Denise's coffee? Alex gasped, imagining the chaos Josie would cause. Glenn grinned at Alex and Tim. It wasn't the safest way to transport a mouse, but that was one of the most interesting flights I've ever been on. Me too, Tim and Alex said together. The end.